Okay, so we're going to talk today about generative AI in social media. So I am Chris Snyder. I know a lot of you out there already, but I'm an associate professor of multimedia in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Drake University. I teach classes on a variety of subjects, including video, audio, social media design, generative AI, web design, both to undergrad and graduate students here at Drake. And I highlighted the two here that I am the most passionate about, which are social media and generative AI, which is why I'm very excited to teach this class, which combines both of those things. So I'm just trying to check who came as I do this. Um, yeah, so get a chance to see where the world of social media, which is what I've been focusing a lot of my time on for the last 15 plus years, is meeting the world of generative AI, which is kind of the newer thing that I am doing a lot of workshops and teaching in. So I am one half of Innovation Profs LLC. So Chris Porter's on this call as well. You can probably see him, but he and I have our company Innovation Profs LLC, where we just try to help people understand generative AI tools through presentations, through workshops, through custom training, through lunch and learn events like we're doing here today. Try to assist with understanding and implementing generative AI at companies and organizations. And we write a twice weekly, now used to be one time a week. We've upped it to two to see how that goes. Newsletter of major developments in generative AI. And you can sign up for that at innovationprofs.com if you are interested. And so this is number two of our four AI lunch clubs that we're doing this spring semester at least. I realize it's not spring yet. But the next two, so 2 weeks from today, Porter will be doing one on AI ethics. So, ethics is really one of the number one questions people ask us about when we teach them about these tools, right? So you have access to use these tools, but how do you make decisions about, whether you should use the tools? So that will be a really good one and of interest to hopefully most of you and a lot of people. And then on April 9th, Porter will present about artificial intelligence in law and policy. So just what's going on in terms of the legalities behind it and policies people are creating around it. So you can sign up for those at innovationprofs.com if you are interested. So the plan for today. So I'm going to talk to you about really, four main things. The first one being just X and Meta and how they have foundation models, right? So they have their own AI models, to compete with your Chat GPT and just what that means for them as a company. We'll get into how various social networks are using generative AI. So how are they implementing it into, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. I'll talk about a few new AI-based social networks that are out in the world, and probably won't have you rushing to sign up for them, but they're a good way to just sort of see what AI can do and what might be coming down the pipe in terms of AI and social media. And then I'll just end with a couple of just generative AI tools for social media managers and talk about, the fact that there are ways we can be better at doing our social media by using generative AI. So if you want to get today's slides, if you want to get the video, since I am recording this, if you want to, you can go to fill out this QR code, or you can go to bit.ly/more-gen-AI, and you can get the slides from today. There's a spot on there to sign up for our email newsletter as well if you're interested in that. And if for some reason you don't get these slides, so I send these from our Innovation Profs email account, and oftentimes that goes to people's spam folders. So feel free to email me or email Professor Porter, and we can get these things to you right away. So I'll show this same slide at the end as well, so you'll see it again. So really the big, takeaway for me from today is that your favorite social media companies are now AI companies. So these social media companies are very much in the AI game, very much big players in the AI game. And so we're probably just seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of how generative AI will be a part of what we do in social media. And so hopefully you'll see what we talk about today and think about where this could go after that. So like I said, I want to talk about these generative AI foundation models, right? So foundation models are just big models that can do, lots of things in the world of generative AI. And in our social media world, that is Meta and that is Grok, right? So Meta has Meta AI, and then X, what used to be Twitter, has Grok. But these large language models need to be trained on large amounts of content for them to be successful and to do what we want them to do. And Meta and X have a large amount of content, so that gives them, potential advantage over some of these other generative AI companies like Anthropic, who has Claude and doesn't own any sort of content machine like these tools do. Even OpenAI, has deals for getting content, but doesn't have, direct access to some of this content, right? So these are, kind of their own interesting thing in this world of generative AI. So what is Meta AI? Meta AI is really the name for the research division at Meta that develops artificial intelligence and augmented and artificial reality technologies. So Meta's family of large language models is called Llama, and I think they're on version 3.2 maybe of Llama is the latest number I've seen with that. You can access this by just going to meta.ai, right? So just go to meta.ai, and if you're signed into one of your Meta accounts, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, it's going to, serve just like a chat GPT would look, right? It's got a window there for you to start asking questions and communicate with it. It's also available in the search bar of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So if you go to the search bar on any of those apps now, it will say something like Meta AI or search, and there's a chance for you to type in something that you want to get information back like it was a chat GPT. And Meta says it will release a standalone Meta AI app in an effort to compete with OpenAI's ChatGPT at some point soon, right? So they announced that's going to happen, but no date that I've seen on that yet. And I think that OpenAI's, which is ChatGPT's company, their CEO responded and said that they're going to create a social network. So he was joking, but they said they should, right? Because then they would have access to this information. So here's what it looks like on the left is when you go to meta.ai, right? You'll see something like this that says, you can create images, you can have it rewrite content for you. You can have it just treat it like you would any sort of OpenAI or Gemini, Google social network. On the right is in WhatsApp. So I went to the search bar in WhatsApp and it says ask Meta AI or search. And so then it even shows some examples down below, some things that you might do using Meta AI. Grok is an AI chatbot developed by xAI, which is a company founded by Elon Musk in March of 2023. It's integrated into X and is designed to provide users with a more humorous and edgy alternative to existing AI chatbots like OpenAI's ChatGPT. So Grok was first introduced in November of 2023 as a beta project, initially available to just select users. And the latest version, Grok 3, was released in February of 2025. So they're up to version 3 in a very short amount of time. I think that OpenAI has been around for like 8 years to get to where they are with ChatGPT, but Grok has caught up very quickly in that world. So being integrated in the X platform lets Grok have access to real-time data, enabling it to provide up-to-date information. One of its distinguishing features is its ability to respond with wit and a rebellious streak, right? Which kind of a little bit fits with the content you might see on X/Twitter. Its less restrictive approach has led to instances where the chatbot provided explicit or potentially harmful content. For example, it's been reported to give instructions on illicit activities and produce adult-themed responses to things. Some of those, what people report and then Grok fixes, some of them they seem to lean into with it. So it's available at grok.com. You don't need to be a premium user of X to have it anymore. And there's a mobile app that you can use for it as well. So Grok is out there and available. And then Grok has voice mode on the mobile app, which a lot of these tools have now. And it's got some different modes, right? It said it kind of leans into its sort of different status. So if you scroll all the way to the right in the voice modes, you'll see unhinged, you'll see sexy, you'll see motivation, and you'll see argumentative. So I tried unhinged today, and I debated whether to even put this in this presentation, but I tried to cross out some words. But I just asked what's happening in Iowa, and you can see how it responded to me there. So if you really want to see an unhinged side of generative AI, it's available on Grok. I want to know what happens in the sexy mode of it, so I'm not testing that one out. But like I said, Grok has caught up very quickly in this world. So just the chat LLM leaderboard, where people blind use these tools and then rate them on how good they are. Grok has 2 of the top 3 models that are on that list, and so potentially pretty good. Meta has nothing in the top 13. I think 21 is where theirs comes in. So Meta's is kind of regarded as not being all that wonderful, whereas Grok's is, definitely making some strides and making a name for itself in this area. Okay, so that's these, large foundation models. Let's talk about how our social networks are using generative AI. And if you have questions as we go along, feel free to throw them in the chat or raise your hand. Happy to call on you guys and talk about some things if you want a little more detail on some of these as we go. So generally speaking, we think about like how our AI tools are starting to come into social media, right? If I had to kind of summarize it, I would say that, they're available to help you write content. I would say write content and edit content too, right? So you write it once and then they help you rewrite that content. They're being used to summarize content in places. There are tools that we can use to edit images in our social media. There are tools we can use to create images and even create videos, and also to create digital avatars in our social networks as well, right? But for the most part, it's that writing content, summarizing content, and maybe creating images might be the top ways that it's being used, but even getting into doing some editing with our images as well. So if we start with just
Chris, there's a question in the chat on the chatbot leaderboard.
Yeah, and so question about the chatbot leaderboard, right? And Porter might be able to answer this better. He looks at this more closely than I do, but people are given kind of side by side 2 different chatbots, and I think you give it a prompt you want it to do, and then it gives you the 2 responses, and you choose which one is better. So it's sort of a blind ranking. So any of us can go in there and use it and start blind ranking some tools to see which one gets ranked better.
And then there also is a separate page related to that same website that shows certain diagnostic tests for reasoning tasks that the different LLMs are given. And then those are ranked according to each of the individual tasks. And then there's a cumulative rank that puts those in order as well. So there's a crowdsourced version and then more of a scientific version on the chatbot leaderboard website.
And there's been a little bit of belief that maybe Grok is kind of gaming the system a bit there, but I don't know if there's any truth to any of that, right? So I think it's a pretty good model, I would say. So all right, so AI in Facebook and Instagram, right? So we'll talk about these together and then we'll break them out separately as well. But like I mentioned before, if you go to the search bars in Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see AI tools, and that's where they really was one of the first places you could even access Meta's AI tool was in there. So they kind of start things in places where they're not sort of in your face and in your feed. And the search bar is one of those places. Direct messaging is another place. So you could go in there and just like you might use any sort, ChatGPT, just ask it a question, what's the history of St. Patrick's Day? And it will use Meta AI to give you an answer to the question that you asked in there. It's even got some sort, you see the word sources at the bottom, right? So it's using sources, so it has access to the web to, give you sources for the information that you are getting. Users can also search for the meta.ai account in Instagram, in Facebook, and in WhatsApp, and chat with it through direct message in Instagram or Messenger. I think also WhatsApp has it. You can direct message in WhatsApp too. And again, they're putting a lot of things in direct mess in the DMs is what they're doing to sort of have things not right there in your main feed, but a way to interact with some stuff. So we'll see more about these direct messages. But this uses Meta's Llama large language model. It has access to the web, like I said before. And chat, like I said, seems to be Meta's area of choice for introducing AI tools. You'll see more of that when we get to the Instagram section. So one thing you can do if you want to really get a sense of it with Meta AI is you can AI yourself. So if you go to any of those chats with Meta AI and you type in the words "imagine me," it's going to give you some instructions to take some pictures of your face and upload some images or use images it already has from your account and give you the ability to imagine yourself in different scenarios. I don't even know what I was imagining in the top left, but top right there, right? It's me surfing, bottom left, me on a safari, bottom right, me juggling a bunch of dogs. So one fun thing we can do, just get a sense of what it does, right? So if you want to try something out, go chat with Meta AI and just type in imagine me and you'll get it doing that. So AI chatbots and AI indirect messages is kind of a big part of the strategy at Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg posted on June 27th of last year, right? So it's been a little while here, that they're rolling out an early test in the US of their AI studio. So you might start seeing AIs from your favorite creators and interest-based AIs in the coming weeks on Instagram. These will primarily show up in messaging for now and will be clearly labeled as AI. It's early days in the first beta version of these AIs, so we'll keep working on improving them and make them available to more people soon. So I'm curious, those of you that use Instagram, if you can throw a yes or a no in the chat, like, have you seen AI chatbots in Instagram? Throw a yes or no. See what, no, one yes. So lots of no's, right? And so it's interesting because again, they keep some of the stuff in the direct message area, and so it's not super noticeable to everybody, but it's growing. So you can create these through a tool they have called Meta AI Studio. This is widely available. I believe, I mean, I checked most of my accounts and I could do it with every account I checked it with. But there's two types of AIs you can create. So one is a creator AI that is an extension of you. So this one doesn't seem to be widely available. The second one is you can just create an AI character based on any of your any interest, right? Any topic that you want to create it around. So to these creator AIs, so this is the one that doesn't seem to be widely available yet, but creators who I assume they start people who have a decent amount of following can create an AI that sounds like them based on their Instagram content and information. The AI can help save time by engaging with more fans and connecting in a new way, starting with chats. So this is rolling out to professional accounts in the professional dashboard. So if you have a professional account, when you're on your page in Instagram, you'll see the words professional dashboard there. You can click on that and then go into Meta AIs and see if you have the ability to do this. But really what you can do at some point when you're comfortable with it is you can let it automatically respond to people in your DM. So if you're an Instagram creator who has hundreds of thousands or more, even more followers, and people are DMing you regularly, you can let the AI respond to them in your voice. So it gives you the ability to, just have a little more reach and do things you maybe couldn't do before. And it's clearly labeled that it's, an AI that's responding to you. AI character is the one that we can all create now. So you can craft AIs that uniquely express your personal interest and nerd out on topics that matter to you. So you can keep these AIs private for personal use or share through stories, direct links, or even display on your Instagram profile. So I'll show you the process to create these here. But first, if you want to see what they're like, so I made one tied to one of my accounts. So if you want to scan this QR code, it should open up Instagram and take you to a creator or one of these creator AIs called Social Professor that is, there to answer questions related to the world of social media, right? So, and super easy to create these, and I'll show you how you can do that. So feel free to check that out and see how that works. And it's also, so this is from my Prof. Snyder account on Instagram, and it's also linked from my account. So if you go to the Prof. Snyder account on Instagram, you can see how they add a link to my AI from there. You can also, if you have the link, you can access it from the web too. So here's what it looks like on the web. And you can see too that it does, right? So I asked it, right? Because this topic here, how is Instagram using generative AI in the app? And it gave me a list of ways it's using it. And it even gave me some sources for those that I could click on and get more information, right? So I think it's fairly decent. But the more you build it out for a topic, the better it's going to be. So you used to have to go on the web to make these, but now they have a new way to make them pretty easily. So if you in the Instagram app, so if you want to see if you've got all this, I think you all should, but if you click on your messages to go into your DM area, direct message area, and then if you click on the little button in the upper right-hand corner to start a new direct message, then you'll see an option for AI chats. So that's this first image here on the left. If you click on AI chats, it will take you to the next page where you'll see if you've created any, like my social professor is there, you'll see some popular ones that other people have created and how many messages people have interacted with them doing. And then you'll see the create button if you want to make your own. And then from there, you can just click on get started to describe what you want your character to be like, or use one of the kind of sample prompts down at the bottom to get started as well. And yeah, you're just describing what you want your AI character to do and what you want it to be like. So what's the wonderful use of this? I don't necessarily know yet, but it's I feel like we're seeing these things where we're just starting to get more AI tools in our social media, so we'll get more used to it because more things are coming down the pipe later on that are going to be a little bit more in our face, right? So pay attention and see if you start seeing some of these chat bots appearing places, right? So people can share them, I guess, in their story to get people there. A couple of recent updates they've made for them. So one is they can be in group chats now. So you can invite one of these AI characters into a group chat that you have on Instagram. And they also have voices now too. So you can set a voice for them so that people can talk to them in voice mode. On the advertising side with Meta, right? So this is kind of Instagram and Facebook together. They have this Advantage Plus option for campaigns that use AI to optimize ad placement and budgets across stories, reels, and feed. There was this worry when Apple made us start opting into letting us be tracked on our phones, the Facebook, Instagram, Meta were no longer going to be able to serve ads as effectively. And they've really been able to use AI to even serve them more effectively now than they were in the past, right? So the AI advertising is a big part of what Meta's made available for you. They've got tools inside of their ad creation tools that can generate multiple versions of an ad. So with different backgrounds, product arrangements, or text overlays from a single product photo. So for example, you could give it the product of take a picture of a cup of coffee on the left and ask it to generate variations of a coffee mug in different situations, right? And so it creates the ones on the right. So it's giving you the ability to use generative AI to create some more ads for what you're doing. Back to Instagram DMs. So just in the regular DMs that you might have with your friends, we're seeing they're starting to implement some tools in there as well. So one is you can send an AI generated image in a chat. So when you're chatting with someone, there's a little plus sign that has the ability to create an AI image to put into that chat. You can also use AI to translate messages to, it says different language here, but everything is just to your language. Think whatever language you're set on, that's what it's going to translate things to. So if someone sends something in a chat that's another language, if you just long press on it and choose translate, it will translate it into your language for you. You can bring Meta AI into chats as well. So when you're chatting with another person, you can mention at Meta AI and bring them into your chat, right? And so this is a list here of some of the things that they suggest that it can do in those chats. But see which one of these would be useful, right? So maybe fun date night ideas, right? So if you're chatting with your significant other and you want to bring Meta AI in to suggest some fun date night ideas, you can do that. It says that it will only respond to chats that have the app Meta AI in it, right? It will ignore everything else in there with that. Instagram stories, we're starting to see AI come into, and there's things kind of come in and out of Instagram stories all the time. So backdrop is one. You can see on my screen here, uses AI to change the background of your images. There's an AI stickers button that, it's even on here. Yeah, AI stickers, sort of bottom left of the screenshot, that you can use to add, create stickers you can add to your images. And then lately I've seen those went away, but I see this sort of button that says AI images, but sort of rotates through some different features as well. But there seems to always be something in our stories again that is related to using generative AI. So again, like not right there in your feed in your face, but when you're in your Instagram stories, and then you click on the button to add some new features to it, you'll see some AI options showing up in there. On Facebook, it's starting to be a little more prevalent in our feed where we create posts. So whether you're on mobile or desktop, you should see the option to create an image to go with your post. So usually it has the word imagine on it, right? So we've got imagine with AI on the left. We've got imagine on the right. And you can ask it to create an image, right? So I said, create an image of a bulldog in a pumpkin costume, and it creates, what you ask it to create. And then what I noticed, early on, and I have to go back and check and see if this has changed, but was you could make them, but you couldn't then put them directly into your post. You could make it and download it and then add it to your post later. But I think now, I'd have to double check, but I think that you can just add them straight into your post now. You can also rewrite your post to be more professional, to fix the grammar, or just use help me write to get started and create something for you, right? So like this is maybe like a dream come true. Think of all the poorly written content we've seen on Facebook over the years. If we could just get some of that to be cleaned up, we would be much better off for all of that. And really on Facebook, you'll see AI popping up in different places. So I put in your feed here, but I don't know that the Meta is necessarily doing anything in your feed directly. But I think your groups that you're in, right? I think they're recommending things from groups you're not in that would be like AI created. I feel like I get a lot of like luxury houses in my feed that when you look closely, it's like, oh, that's definitely generative AI, right? So I think we're getting things in our feed that maybe Meta isn't creating, but their algorithm is pushing. You'll see things in your feed like this screenshot here where you see the Imagine a Dog Professor just in your feed prompting you to use Meta AI, right? So I get this all the time because I've used it before. So they prompt me to try to want to use it again. And then one area that's pretty useful is comment summaries. So when a post, and usually this happens in groups, gets a lot of comments on it, Meta will use AI to summarize what those comments are saying, right? Which is really a useful tool to have. We see that on Amazon with reviews. So we've kind of learned that that's something that generative AI does well, and those summaries tend to be, fairly accurate, or at least get you quickly caught up in what's happening in that conversation. Same shot there. More things in the AI world from Meta. So Meta's Ray-Ban glasses can now call phone numbers just by looking at them. They say that's AI that's allowing that to happen. Meta uses AI to automatically dub reels into other languages, complete with changing the lip movement to fit the other language. Meta AI supports voice chat and can talk in celebrity voices, including Dame Judi Dench, John Cena, right, etc. I think that's the screenshot on the right, as you can pick celebrity voices that you're talking to when you're doing voice mode for Meta AI. And businesses can set up ad-enabled chatbots that talk to customers, offer support, and even take orders from people, right? So again, on the ad side, adding some more features there as well. Okay, so that's some stuff with Facebook and Meta. Any questions, thoughts related to Facebook and Meta before I move on from those? Okay, if you do throw them in the chat and I'll stop and see it. But so LinkedIn then. So LinkedIn really seems to reserve AI tools for its premium users. So if you're a premium user, though, you can get things like an AI writing tool to improve your user profile, right? So they'll have an AI tool that just helps you make your, your headline on LinkedIn and your profile be, in their opinion, better. And better for them usually means they're trying to help you get a job. They have an AI feature for writing job postings, also just a few key details. So if you write job postings, most of us write job postings by just going to the most recent job that we hired from and copying that, right? So it's not all that different than use AI to try something like that as well. They have something called collaborative articles, where an initial draft of the article is written by AI, and then members can add their insights to those topics. So you might see some of these collaborative articles showing up, or that so-and-so collaborated on this article, started by AI, and then trying to get other people to comment on those as well. I think LinkedIn has done some version of this for quite some while, but now it's AI based. They have AI-powered insights on posts that appear directly in premium users' feeds, suggesting prompts and follow-up questions. So if you're a premium user, they're suggesting things that you can do to interact with other people's posts. So you can click on prompts to engage with the generative AI chatbot about topics raised in the post as well. So maybe someone is writing something, you don't want to comment and ask a question, but you want to ask a question related to what they said. There's a little chatbot that shows up there and does that. X has a pretty similar thing that we'll talk about a little bit later. For job posts, a similar feature helps premium subscribers find roles that match their preferences and assess their fit for a given position. And the tool offers skill development tips, drafts cover letters, and suggests resume enhancements for you as well. I think when we pulled our big lecture class on the first day of school about how they use generative AI, it seemed like writing cover letters was the #1 thing that came up there. LinkedIn Learning, which is the education arm of LinkedIn, has an AI learning coach chatbot the users can chat with to get course recommendations and career advice. So that's what this screenshot here is, what that looks like. So LinkedIn uses AI to assist recruiters and job seekers conversationally. For instance, some recruiters have access to an AI that can draft personalized outreach messages to candidates. I find it really interesting that LinkedIn puts everything behind the paywall for generative AI, right? So that we really have to pay for even the most simple of services there. So they're not really teasing us with any of this. So they're really trying to make some money off of this tool. On the ad side, an AI-powered tool called Accelerate streamlines campaign creation. Users also have access to Microsoft Designer inside the ad platform to use generative AI to design ads for them. And since Microsoft owns LinkedIn, the platform is expected to integrate LinkedIn with the broader Microsoft 365 Copilot ecosystem. So those of you who maybe were on the last lunch club we did about Copilot, and those of you who maybe are trying out Copilot, seeing what it's like, I think that's an interesting one for me. LinkedIn could come into play in this Microsoft 365, and kind of the same as, LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, so they've got all this text here that can be used for, again, training Microsoft's AI. But Microsoft is kind of tied to ChatGPT now as well too. TikTok doesn't do as much. So in November of 2024, right? So recently they launched their Symphony Creative Studios, which is an AI-powered video creation platform designed for advertisers, but also accessible to other people as well. So I'll show you one that I made with this. So through Symphony Creative Studios, TikTok offers advertisers AI tools to create compelling ads. So you can use AI to create ads there, which is something that really all these tools are doing. And then in February of this year, ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, unveiled OmniHuman One, which is an AI system capable of creating realistic human videos from a single image. But so far, that's separate from TikTok and how it's being used. So here, let me stop sharing for a second to make sure I share with audio turned on here so we can hear this. Okay, so this is going to be this TikTok Symphony. So anyone can use this. You have to sign up to be an advertiser, but you don't have to actually buy any ads to try it out. So I tried this out. And so these are, well, the video describes what they are, right? So I do a weekly what's new in social media video, and I started it, but then I let some of their avatars take over. New app records your friends' reactions when you send them links. TikTok has new AI avatars, and X, well, X still has sports. Here's what's new this week in social media. Wait, why am I doing this if TikTok has AI avatars? Get in here, guys.
Let's start with some new apps that were recently released. Ever send someone a TikTok and want to see their reaction? A new app named Scene lets friends record a live video reaction to content you send them. Another new app called Butterflies lets you create AIs that coexist with human accounts on an Instagram-style platform. TikTok parent company ByteDance launched We, an app that looks like an Instagram clone. It's not available in the US yet.
Elsewhere in social media news, TikTok is expanding its Symphony ad suite with AI dubbing tools and avatars based on paid actors and creators like me. Spotify will now let all podcasters upload video. Previously, only...
Okay, we get the idea, right? But this, if you didn't know, right, it says AI generated in the bottom left there. If you didn't know these were AI characters, they're something that could pretty easily fool you into that. So we're seeing a lot more of that going on in the world, and we'll come back to that a little bit too. On the YouTube side, so they have Dream Screen that lets you generate backgrounds for YouTube Shorts. So they say that feature can be used for things like putting yourself in the setting of your favorite book or creating an animated opening for your YouTube short. But they've got that background thing, right? So similar to what Instagram had with AI backgrounds. In YouTube Studio, there's a new inspiration tab that will suggest concepts for videos to you. It will provide a title and a thumbnail for your videos. It'll even write an outline and the first few lines of a video for you, right? So it's meant to be sort of like a companion to help creators think of new ideas for YouTube videos. Their dubbing feature will translate videos to different languages. And they also have a new feature they're testing where the creators can use AI to reply to comments in that creator's own tone and style, right? So if you're a creator with a big following, don't have time to reply to comments, again, you can set it up so the AI will do that for you. On the X side, so I think X has really, to me, one of the more interesting things in this world. So X integrates Grok, right? The AI chatbot developed by their separate company, XAI. Premium users can ask Grok to create pictures from a prompt. I think free users might be able to do this now. And the AI will produce an image that can be posted to X. Premium users also get access to other features that are listed here. So there's a little pop-up I get all the time lately on X where it says, enhance your posts and profile with AI. So sharpen your posts with smart suggestions to get up to 30% more post engagement. Enhance your profile with AI to stand out for up to 2 times as many opportunities, and confidently contact the right people. Draft personalized messages with AI, right? So they're doing some things on the writing side with AI if you pay for it there as well. But what I think is really interesting is that users can click the Grok logo next to a post and get more context from AI and relevant web pages. And because X, still content moves so fast, it tends to be pretty updated information, right? So here was an Elon Musk saying, thank you. I like this one because it wasn't even a post, but it was a screen grab of a post. So he said, thank you, President, real Donald Trump, and then had a screen grab of something that Trump, would have posted to Truth Social, I assume is where that came from. And if you click that XAI button, it will then analyze it and to say, this post reflects ongoing political tensions as it references a boycott of Tesla by critics of Elon Musk amid his close association, blah, 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 right? But it really up to date and it can explain things. So I see things on X all the time and I truly have no clue what's even happening in here, what these people are even talking about. And this always does a good job of getting me up to speed and always seems to make sense of things that are sometimes complicated and have truths and non-truths in them, right? And then it even gives you a list of web links to read more, right? And it's things like The Guardian, NPR, AP News, to get more information about it. So I found this to be really useful. You can also do this because sometimes you don't see that logo, but you can reply to a post using @Grok and ask a question about the post to Grok, and it will answer that for you in the feed, right? So here's one, a post, and then someone replied, at Grok, is this post accurate? And Grok replied, the X post references a real clash between Marco Rubio and Elon Musk during a cabinet meeting on March 6, 2025, right? So pretty interesting tool there, I think, for getting some context of things that and perhaps even, dare I say, fighting misinformation a little bit. In earlier this year, X unveiled an AI-powered advertising feature called Trend Genius. So what Trend Genius does is uses AI to monitor real-time trending topics on X and then deploys ads for an advertiser when a relevant trend gains traction. So I guess it's trying to tie advertisers to trends that make the most sense for them. So that's an interesting kind of change of pace of doing things as well. Okay, so that's kind of a bit of a laundry list of what some of our more popular social networks are doing with generative AI. Any questions at this juncture? Okay, we should have some time for questions at the end too, so keep that in mind. All right, so now let's just talk about taking the big leap into just AI-based social networks, right? So when you see kind of all this stuff bubbling up in our social networks, you might be thinking, Chris, when will AI bots just take over our social networks? And really, they already have in a few places this is being tested. So
I'm going to interrupt you again, Chris. There's another question in the chat that goes back to just what you were just talking about.
So yeah, Musk reposts such a good example. AI does a good job of summarizing and helping, but often is slightly off sometimes. That's in a specific way. How to manage that? Yeah, slightly, just manage it being off sometimes in a significant way. How to manage that? Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump in because
Yeah.
I did post that question very clearly. But sometimes it's like, yeah, they're right. They're right on the money. They're right on what? No. President Lincoln did not do a great job, or whatever. It's just slightly off in a way that if you rely on it, it's problematic. But I don't know if there is a way to manage that, if that's just the nature of the beast.
Well, I like that it adds the sources too, and I agree with you, right? That because it gets me closer to understanding, but I don't feel like it always gets me to fully understanding, right? But the sources sometimes will help me get to fully understanding. But yeah, that's a good point. It can still hallucinate in a little bit of a way, and that's just kind of pointing out the whole problem here is there's a little bit of truth here, and so the stuff that's not true, we're more likely to believe it, right? So it just in some ways exasperates the problem. But yeah, the sources to me help, right? So I like the fact that it gives me those sources. Okay, so 3 social networks that are really just kind of all in with AI. So Butterflies is one. So Butterflies is a social network where humans and AIs interact with each other through posts, comments, and DMs. So you go onto Butterfly and you create fake accounts, right? So you just create an AI account. So this is one I created. Gregory Thompson is a dedicated dad juggling fantasy football wins and lawn perfection, one craft beer at a time, right? I just gave it some things that this person's interested in. It creates the rest. It regularly goes and posts AI photos of this guy, and other AIs interact with it, and it interacts with other AIs in the world, but it's all AI. But also they added that you can have human accounts too. So I have a human account on here that I can go post, so I can be a human and let these other ones just kind of live in this world. So it's interesting to me to see things like, what does AI think makes a good Instagram post, right? 'Cause it's a very Instagram-like social network. What do AI thinks are good comments on things? And you never post something and don't get interaction on it, right? You're always getting the interaction. So Butterflies is interesting in that regard. Social AI is an app where humans post and only AIs reply to posts. So this one is not an image-based one. It's just text-based. So it's more like your X. But you create a post and then you'll have AIs respond to that post. So you could ask a question that you want to get serious answers to, and the AIs would give you serious answers, or you can just mess around. You can see on here, pick the types of followers you want. So you can have people that are going to be supporters, that are going to be trolls, going to be critics, right? Whatever you think is, whatever you want to have in this world. So if you want to, practice dealing with trolls in the comments of AI. You can do it in this social AI world where, you know, no one's ever going to see it. There's a newer one called Aspect. So this is another Instagram-like one, but it's an Instagram-like social network where you are the only human. So you post and everything else is done by AIs. And so again, but you can post you post real content like you would post Instagram. So maybe it's a way to test things out here and see if this is good Instagram content. You know, what is truly the value here? I'm not 100% sure, but seeing AIs in our social networks to me is interesting, and it just makes me assume that, well, we already know this because Meta said they wanted to do this at the beginning of this year, then they backed off when people really boycotted against it, is that we're going to start seeing these AIs in our other social networks, right? So maybe you've got an account and you're not getting a whole lot of engagement for your account on Facebook. Well, unleash the AIs and we'll get your engagement going up, right? We'll get some help, get some conversations started, things like that. So I believe that day is coming. If Grok has sexy mode and Elon Musk says we're gonna, you know, have AI significant others at some point, then it only makes sense that we're at some point we're living together with AIs in our social networks. And these three apps are an interesting way to get a sense of what that might look like, an early preview of it. So do recommend those. But it's not just on those apps. So AI influencers are on the rise in our apps. So the best example, this really isn't, it's not really an AI example, but Michaela Sousa was one of the first virtual influencers. So she has 2.5 million followers on Instagram, has modeled for big brands like Chanel, Prada, and Supreme. She isn't an AI, but now this is much easier for others to replicate. So there's some people behind this that are, you know, using some techniques to make this happen. I think this account started in like 2016 or something, but now any of us can do this with generative AI. So one example of that is this Aitana Lopez, which is created with AI by a communication agency called The Clueless, as an influencer, right? So she has 356,000 followers on Instagram. She does brand deals and, you know, reportedly brings in, you know, 10,000 pounds a month or whatever the currency is where that's in Spain, I think. But these AI influencers are cheaper and easier to work with for brands, right? They don't, you know, aren't as likely to make some sort of misstep that you know, brands don't like. And then research shows that younger people don't care so much if influencers are real or not, as long as they post consistently and are posting about content that interests them. So AI influence is definitely something we'll see more of. And then last thing before I give you guys some, before we take some questions here, is just the idea of, you know, AI tools for social media managers too. So there's some ad stuff that showed up here earlier, some stuff for rewriting content that is useful, but we're going to start seeing in, you know, all the social media tools we use, things that help make our life easier as social media managers too. So I'll just highlight a couple. So Buffer, which is a tool that, you know, lets you create social media content and schedule posts, things like that, has really been a leader in some AI stuff. So they have their AI assistant that helps you brainstorm ideas, rewrite content, craft platform-specific posts. You can share high-quality, engaging content without the stress. So if you use Buffer or Sprout Social or Sprinkler or any of these other tools out there, right, we're going to see more AI be implemented into those. Blaze is one that somebody recently told me it was worth checking out, but it creates personalized social media, blogs, newsletters, websites in your brand voice and style. So going to see more and more of tools like that out there for us to use. Okay, so take some questions in a minute here. I just want to remind you, we've got 2 more of these AI lunch clubs coming up. So 2 weeks from today, and then 2 weeks from that. So innovationprocess.com is where you can get more info for that. And I'll show this slide again. So if you want to get the slides from today, if you want to get the video from today, if you are not signed up for our newsletter and want to sign up for our generative AI newsletter, you can go to that QR code or that website, and you can get signed up for that, and I'll send you the slides. And then, like I said, if you don't, I'll send them out today. So if you don't get them today, feel free to send me an email or look in your spam folder and see where they went to. Or if you don't fill out this QR code and want them, email me and I'll send you the link to get those as well. But we got 10 minutes left. What questions do you guys have about some of the stuff or things to add to it? I know some of you guys are in this world and might know some other stuff that wasn't here.
Hey, quick question about the accounts being created. Obviously, there's in marketing trends and putting ads in social media, there's a lot of bots, bot talk, even pre-AI. Is there any legal or terms of use requirement for them to label it as AI? Or is that just kind of a gray area right now?
I don't know like legally, but I think legally there's not, right? Because we're not seeing much regulation in this area, at least not in the United States. So if it's going to be driven, it's probably going to be driven by what's happening in Europe, right? And these are international companies and might just follow those rules everywhere. But I think that they're pretty good about labeling things. I think that so far they want things to be labeled as AI is what I've seen. YouTube, just reading up on you, because there wasn't a lot of YouTube stuff for me to talk about here, and I was reading about it, and YouTube has been really reluctant to get in this world. Like they're really afraid of it upsetting their creators, right? That they've built this on. And so they've been, tentative to introduce features that really use generative AI in ways outside of like brainstorming, some of those things that they offer there, better thumbnails, stuff like that. So that's interesting where the companies that want to use this and don't want to use this. But yeah, I think that they want things to be labeled, at least so far. And so that so far is a good thing, but I would never trust Meta to make the right choice in this world. If given the choice to not label and be able to make more money because of it, they would choose not label and make more money, right? There's no question there.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of stuff with embedding things into photos that are AI and videos that are AI, right? So that they can tell some of that stuff as well is really interesting. There's a guy I used to work with when I worked at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, David Carson's photographer. He's doing a fellowship this year. I didn't realize there's cameras you buy now, and those cameras embed something that like signals that this is not an AI, this is a real image, right? And so these newer cameras like all have this in them now. So it's like this reverse of it. It's not so much wondering if it's AI, but it's proving that it's not AI is kind of an interesting flip on that. So if you search David Carson, Stanford, he wrote a really good article about that from his fellowship about tools out there in the image world, which is he's interested in, but that would, I think, translate to video as well.
Good question.
Yeah, Veronica.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I keep asking just really big, impossible to answer questions, but so I work for a nonprofit that values privacy. And I mean, any specific rules of thumb, if you choose to take the next step on some of this AI stuff, on rules of thumb to protect not only our privacy, but the privacy of people who might be interacting with us.
Yeah, because you're thinking like what are you thinking might happen like in terms of privacy that's outside of you posting non-AI content? Just like terms of service with some...
Well, I guess part of it too is sometimes like our back and forths in social media get very acrimonious. If two people decided to go after each other, for example, especially if one person was more vulnerable than the other, are there ways in social media that AI is opening paths for them to track those people down more than they might otherwise?
Yeah, I think that's what, that's definitely an area that AI is being used, right? So traditional AI, not generative AI, but is finding content that shouldn't be on there, right? So finding content that we want to get rid of, finding abuse, finding things in that world. I know like one of the things I saw with YouTube back to that is that they're planning to use AI to determine how old their users are. Now, exactly how they're going to do that, I don't know, right? But maybe just
especially if you have a good filter.
Well, but I'm guessing maybe it's somehow maybe based on things that you watch too, or when you signed up. I don't know, right? But they didn't make it clear, but they want to be able to serve you content that's more at your age level by doing that. So I think there are some thoughts of using some of these tools for good in that world. But I mean, to your point, it seems like social media is, you know, is all about less moderation and less taking things down now. So I would not be feeling positive about the question you're asking, right? I would say that, you know, you want to make sure you're watching things more closely than ever in your world to make sure that you're the one that's going to be taking down the things that cross the line.
Well, and actually to that point, if I could ask a follow-up, so we recently had a post that like it blew up on a Sunday afternoon, and I think it got posted on a particular website, and we ended up with 5,000 comments. And there's just no way that we can moderate those. And so I don't know, maybe we could use AI to set up a mod that, I mean, because there's plenty of keywords that, you know, I know we can do filters where it won't allow posting or hide posts with certain words in it. And I think we've done that.
And that's sort of the promise of your Blue Sky and your, you know, other social networks that let you set the rules, right? So you set the rules of what they are, and then they, you know, can follow those rules. But I see a lot of brands turning off comments lately. Like I see things and I'm like, that's gonna go wrong. And then I'll come back 5 minutes later and see they turned off comments because they're just, you know, but the stuff is going big still, right? Because it's being linked from somewhere like yours is. So they still want the traffic to it, but they don't want the drama of the comments.
Right. Or in our case, it was quote unquote off hours. You know, the moderator had checked it Sunday morning. It was fine, you know, brisk, and then it just went off the rails. So, I mean, before we could turn off comments. So then
Yeah.
we were left with a train wreck to clean up. Yeah.
Did you turn them off eventually, or?
Yeah, we did. We did. I think, but at that point, you've got 5,000 comments, and yeah, that takes hours and hours and hours to go through, even with two people working on it. But
Yep.
that's one specific example.
Yeah, I would think that there's probably a good hope for AI in that world, and even maybe I don't use some of these paid services like, you know, Buffer, Sprout Social, but they might have some tools in there to help with that as well.
Buffer, it's called Buffer.
Yeah, there's several social media management tools. I think
Mhm.
Sprinkler
Okay,
is a popular one people use. So.
thanks.
Any other question, comments, other things you guys are seeing? I won't try to claim to have found it all here. What is so is this, you guys signed up, so you have some interest in social media, some interest in generative AI. Is this interesting, scary? I presented this at a marketing, some of the stuff at a marketing thing several months back, and they're like jaws are on the floor. I think they didn't realize that any of this stuff was truly happening.
Well, I think it's interesting you mentioned that X in AI is gaming the system. I would posit that anyone in AI is gaming the system.
Yeah, there were just some articles saying that they found a way to have their people go into that leaderboard and figure out which ones were theirs, which again, if they were doing that, why would someone else not be doing the same thing, right? So good point.
Although I've gone on the chatbot leaderboard and asked a question, and then it was like, I'm Grok, blah, 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 blah. So it's like you can, if it says it out in the open, then in that way, being able to like have people identify the Grok answer, if it's already identifying itself, then you can make, you know, the other models are just giving out text without identifying the source. So I'm not sure if that's gaming the system, but
Yeah.
at least the chatbot leaderboard.
And Missy has a comment here that I think is worth talking about, right? So she said, works in healthcare, social. There's a big hesitation to using AI for any creative, and I would agree. Like when I am scrolling social media and I see a brand post an image that's clearly made by AI, my first thought is you guys are going to get it in the comment section, because people are not ready for that yet, right? They're going to be ready. I bet our students are okay with that. They're ready for it. But people are not not wanting the AI stuff. Even like I'm on the board for the 6th Avenue corridor down the street here, like a little tiny, one street in Des Moines, and they posted an AI image, and people were just like all over it. I'm like, give them a break. Like, there's one person running this whole organization. She's an AI image, big deal, but they just attacked her. So yeah, wouldn't recommend those AI images quite yet. But video seems to be a little more acceptable, right? We're used to seeing, some things in movies suspending disbelief a little bit more in that area, I guess. So for some reason, video seems to work a little better. Yeah, the where's Waldo to find the weirdness? That's what I always do. Yeah, count the fingers. Okay, well, it's 1:30. I appreciate you guys being here, and hopefully we'll see you guys in some more generative or more lunch club events. And I'll stick around for a few minutes too if you have any other questions. But thanks, everybody.